Johnny Carson's desk saw thousands of celebrities over the years, movie stars, musicians, writers, you name it. But certain guests stood out because they could make Johnny laugh so genuinely that he'd nearly lose control of his own show. These were the performers who turned interviews into unforgettable comedy moments. Here's a look at 15 of the most entertaining personalities who graced Carson's couch. Robin Williams, unstoppable energy. Robin Williams transformed talk show appearances into performance spectacles. His interviews weren't traditional conversations. They were whirlwinds of character work and physical humor. He'd shift seamlessly between accents and personas, never giving Johnny a chance to catch up. The host often sat back and became just another viewer, watching Williams turn ordinary desk items into comedy props. Every object was fair game in Williams' hands, whether it was a coffee mug or the microphone itself. Don Rickles, insult royalty. Rickles entered the studio like he ran the place, immediately roasting everyone in sight: Johnny, the band, the audience. His most famous moment involved breaking Carson's cherished cigarette box while guest hosting, which led to Johnny's surprise revenge visit on Rickles' own show. The unpredictability was electric. Carson would grin expectantly, knowing an insult was coming his way. Rickles held nothing sacred, mocking Johnny's personal life and appearance with the freedom of genuine friendship. Rodney Dangerfield, rapid-fire jokes. Dangerfield delivered jokes at a blistering pace, each one building on his no-respect persona. Johnny would visibly count the punchlines, laughing harder as Rodney tugged nervously at his collar. The interviews barely qualified as conversations. They were essentially stand-up routines at the desk. Carson didn't mind. He'd lean back and let Rodney steamroll through joke after joke, occasionally wiping tears or pounding the desk in appreciation. Steve Martin, calculated absurdity. Martin brought deliberately failed magic tricks, banjo humor, and deadpan delivery. His timing was surgical. He'd answer Johnny's straightforward questions with nonsensical responses delivered completely seriously. Then both would pause for perfect comedic effect. His props, the arrow through the head, the white suit, enhanced the ridiculousness, and Johnny played the straight man brilliantly, pretending to take Steve's absurdity at face value. Joan Rivers, unfiltered commentary. Rivers brought ruthless honesty that cut through television polish. She targeted Hollywood, marriage, and herself with equal ferocity, naming names and tackling taboo subjects before others dared. Johnny respected her fearlessness and gave her space to push boundaries. Their professional relationship was built on mutual respect. Carson saw her as a genuine comedic talent, and she delivered brilliance every appearance. The way their friendship later ended over her Fox show was unfortunate, but during her Tonight Show years, she was comedy gold. Jonathan Winters, improvisation master. Winters could build entire worlds from random desk objects. Johnny would hand him something arbitrary just to watch what happened next. A stapler became a character. A pencil transformed into a fishing rod. Then Winters became the fish, then the fisherman's wife, then the boat, all spontaneously. Carson loved this chaos and unpredictability. Sometimes Winters got so deep into character that Johnny had to physically interrupt for commercials, and even then, he'd continue through the break. Bob Hope, comedy legend. Hope's appearances felt like special events. His razor-sharp timing came from decades of experience, and his chemistry with Carson resembled professional sparring. Johnny lit up when Hope appeared, clearly honored to exchange jokes with someone he'd admired for years. Even in later years, Hope delivered topical humor and self-deprecating age jokes with flawless execution. They volleyed jokes like tennis players, each setting up the other perfectly. For Johnny, having Hope at the desk meant working alongside an idol who treated him as an equal. Tim Conway, commitment comedy. Conway's specialty was stretching simple stories past their breaking point, then adding tiny physical details that triggered explosions of laughter. He stayed completely straight-faced during ridiculous scenarios while Johnny collapsed across from him. A mundane story about the dentist became an epic saga through Conway's commitment and timing. By the end, Carson would be begging him to stop, unable to breathe from laughing. Conway made ordinary situations extraordinary. Richard Pryor, fearless storytelling. Pryor's casual storytelling felt improvised, but was precisely timed. Carson gave him space, listening without interruption or direction. Pryor could pivot from outrageous to vulnerable instantly, stunning everyone. He shared stories about childhood, family, and personal struggles, somehow making them hilarious without losing their emotional weight. This honesty set him apart. Johnny protected Pryor's ability to push boundaries and use language that worried executives. Understanding his comedy came from authentic truth. Burt Reynolds and Dom DeLuise controlled chaos. Together, they created mayhem, whipped cream fights, broken chairs, water dumping. Johnny rarely maintained control during these segments. Their appearances felt like friendly brawls between overgrown children, with Carson trapped helplessly in the middle. They'd plan bits then abandon them to improvise destruction. Dom would crack himself up, Burt would physically attack him, and they'd roll on the floor. Eventually, Johnny learned to ask one question, then get out of their way. David Letterman, Next Generation. Before his own late-night show, Letterman brought sharp, sarcastic humor that complemented Carson's reactions perfectly. Johnny took visible pride in Dave's appearances, letting him mock the very concept of talk shows. Their dry exchanges felt like a torch being passed. Carson recognized in Letterman the same Midwestern deadpan sensibility and willingness to undercut show business pretense. When Dave sat at that desk, Johnny was clearly acknowledging someone who truly understood comedy. Sammy Davis Jr., complete entertainer. Davis did everything: impressions, songs, comedy, dance. His celebrity impressions were spot on, bouncing from Dean Martin to Sinatra to Cagney flawlessly. Simple guest segments became variety shows in minutes. Johnny loved versatile performers, and Sammy epitomized old-school Vegas entertainment. Carson would set him up, then watch thrilled as a master took over. Bob Newhart, precision humor. Newhart's dry, measured delivery pulled audiences in so tightly that subtle punchlines landed huge. His famous one-sided phone calls demonstrated how pauses and reactions could create complete scenes. While others went big, Newhart went quiet, making every word count. Carson tried maintaining composure, but when Bob hit his rhythm, Johnny inevitably broke, the highest compliment possible. Mel Brooks, theatrical takeover. Brooks treated the set as his personal stage, overwhelming the show with songs, bits, and pure energy. He'd jump on furniture, grab Johnny, burst into opera. You couldn't predict what came next. He'd start answering questions, then perform entire movies with voices and effects. Johnny doubled over while audiences screamed. Even commercial breaks barely contained him. Mel kept performing as cameras faded. Harvey Korman, breaking character. Korman turned losing composure into an art form. He'd break mid-story, bury his face, and plead with Johnny while audiences roared. His reputation from sketch comedy followed him, where even slight missteps sent him into hysterics. His inability to stay composed became running comedy, meta-humor where the breakdown was the punchline. He'd start stories, collapse laughing, try recovering, then break again. It felt spontaneous, but was expertly crafted, and Johnny recognized the skill in appearing to fall apart on cue.